Science over fiction. We choose truth over facts. And so, folks...
So what you just saw there was a clip of Joe Biden from earlier in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. He was at an event in Iowa, and he famously said that he was going to choose truth over facts. And we all laughed about it at the time, but that clip was just one of many since then that's been showcasing Biden's cognitive decline and dementia. And just today, the Donald Trump Mike Pence campaign has launched a website called Truth Over Facts, where they're basically going to make fun of Biden's cognitive decline and dementia. And I'm here to say that this is just one more example of what progressives were warning about when Biden was nominated, or when Biden became the presumptive nominee. That whether it was this, whether it was Tara Reade, whether it was his decades of anti-worker, anti-progressive policy, Biden would be a severe liability when it came to defeating Donald Trump. And the polls aren't bad now. They're not bad yet. But all of these scandals, all of these weaknesses are going to be exposed by the Trump campaign. And again, I've said this before, this video isn't about supporting Donald Trump. Trump, on almost all of these issues, is worse. Trump himself has high-profile incidences of cognitive decline and dementia. Trump himself has histories of being anti-worker, being anti-progressive. Trump himself has a history of scandal regarding women, just as bad and in some cases worse than the Tara Reade story. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are both awful, and that's just the way Trump and the Republicans like it. Republicans win when turnout is low. That's how they win the majority of their nationwide elections. And one of the things that helps drive lower turnout is bad candidates on both sides. When voters can only really vote against something, that means there's a lot of people that won't be inspired to vote. And so, whether it's 2016 and potentially 2020, where the Democrats are putting up candidates that are uninspiring, they're not driving enthusiasm, they have low favorability ratings, their policies aren't sparking passion among progressives on their own side, that's a recipe for a defeat, even though when people are polled, you might poll better, because if people have to choose, they'll choose your guy, but they're not choosing Biden with any enthusiasm over Trump. Whereas, although his pool is smaller, Trump's base is much more enthusiastic. So, Trump has a natural desire, the Republicans have a natural desire to focus in on these scandals. And you might say, well, that's just politics, right? I mean, they'll lie about their opponents, and Trump will lie. He has lied, and he will continue to lie about his opponents and anyone who stands in his way. Maybe more than most politicians. But I'll tell you one thing. Donald Trump doesn't have to lie to make neoliberal corporate Democrats like Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden look bad. Trump might not be genuine, Trump might be worst on the things he's criticizing Biden about, but they don't have to be lies. Biden clearly does have issues with his mental stability and his mental health. He does. It's not quite there. It's not there for Trump either, really, but it's not there for Biden either. Biden does have decades of policies that have hurt working people, hurt minorities, hurt students, hurt veterans, hurt all sorts of folks that he supposedly cares about and the corporate Democrats supposedly care about. All of this is done in a way where Trump can attack corporate Democrats like Nancy Pelosi for having ice cream fridges, for having $24,000 freezers. He can attack Hillary Clinton for not caring about working people and not be a liar even though he cares less about those people. And this is exactly what we progressives, Bernie Sanders supporters, were warning people about. That this is a recipe for defeat. I'm not going to come out and say that Biden is guaranteed to lose in November. I'd never make that claim. It's far too early to make a definitive statement. Biden's 100% going to win or lose, or Trump is definitely going to win or lose. But what I am saying is that all of the weaknesses of Biden, personal weaknesses and political weaknesses and ideological weaknesses, are tailor-made for exposure by Trump, by Pence, by the Republican 2020 campaign. And the Democrats, in their desperation to stop Bernie Sanders from winning the nomination, knowingly put up a man who has awful positions and an awful legacy, and they were going to roll the dice on that. I know that the Democrats would rather win than lose, but they would rather lose with Biden than win with Bernie. And that's how they've put millions of working class people, minorities, women, all sorts of marginalized people at risk of 4 more years of Trump, giving up easy, field goal attacks like this for Trump on Biden, all in an effort to deny people the ability to vote for a man who is decent in his own right and who has a set of policies that would help the majority of the broad American working class and would energize that class, including those that don't frequently vote, to come out and vote, not just to stop Trump, but to actually do something positive for once in a generation, if not longer. They wanted to stop that. And so why progressives are angry, why we talk about the Trump attacks on Biden, isn't because we support them, isn't because we're happy to see them, but because we're afraid to see them. Because you've put us in this position where the world, not just Americans, but the world could be plagued by 4 more years of Donald Trump, all to stop Bernie Sanders, all to stop a Green New Deal and Medicare for all. And you could see this coming from miles away. What are you going to do when somebody says Biden wanted to cut Social Security? You can lie, I guess, but the tapes are there. What are you going to say when there are severe concerns about Biden's ability to effectively communicate? And the tapes are there. I don't know. To me, I hate having to, bring up Trump campaign materials because I don't want to support the Trump campaign in any, way whatsoever. But when you see this, just like you saw the very effective Donald Trump ad attacking Nancy Pelosi as Nancy Antoinette about the ice cream, you have to let people know because these mistakes were avoidable. These mistakes were avoidable. If Nancy Pelosi was turfed long ago by a good progressive like Shahid Buttar, we wouldn't be in this position. And if Democrats picked a decent person who could communicate and didn't have a crappy legacy, we wouldn't be in this position regarding the presidential election either.